What's up, brothers and sisters? Welcome back to Eternal Perspective Ministries. I'm Josiah. So today I wasn't really sure originally what I was going to be talking to y'all about, but then the Lord gave it to me. I felt I should just speak upon part of my testimony of how I got here where I am right now in Iowa, because I know a lot of friends from where I'm from, Texas, Austin, Texas, might be wondering and such, and other people as well. So I'll just get into it. Basically, it's a praise report of how God has been working in my life for the past. Of course, He works every day, but very drastic and dramatically, I guess, for the past 4 years. So let's kick it off in Austin, Texas. So about like 4 years ago, I was living in Austin, Texas for 16 years of my life. I was born and raised there. My mom was a property manager for an apartment community for like 3 years, and she was great at her job. Yeah, so one day while mom was at work is where things changed, where God started pushing us other places. So one day when my mom was at work, she had a grand mal seizure. She'd never had one in her whole life. I think she was 46. And so she had a grand mal seizure, went to the hospital, was unconscious for a couple days. I had never experienced that before. I was about 16 years old. And it was very traumatic at the time. My mom's never had a grand mal seizure before. She's never even really had any health problems her whole life, so it was very new and very life-changing. And so after all that, after we both got to processing that together, her brain chemistry wasn't the same anymore. And so she wasn't able to do her job anymore as a property manager. She ended up trying to work from home, and because of the laws that the managing company has, since she was working from home, they fired her because she had to be working at the office. And that's horrible, because it was just me and my mom basically living together, because my mom and dad divorced when I was 3. So my mom and I were living out of the apartment that she was managing. And after living there for a while after the seizure, because she got fired, also in the laws from the managers, if you get fired at work, you have to move out of the apartment community. So my mom and I got evicted, and we had nowhere to go. We don't really have much family help, and so it's just me and my mom. And my dad was doing his own thing, so it didn't work out for my mom and I, or just me, to go with my dad. And so yeah, we got evicted. And so my mom actually, she was kind of freaking out, and I thought I had a life in Texas, so I was just telling her, nah, like, I'm good, I'll just stay here, blah blah blah. And then my mom was just telling me how much she was praying and asking God for direction on what we should do. And God kept revealing to her to go north. He kept telling her, go to family. And so that was on her mind. And I kept saying I wanted to stay in Texas or whatever, and so I was fighting her on it, and it was driving her crazy, because now she doesn't have a job, she's stuck at home, and her brain's not the same at all anymore. So, and she didn't really have any family support, so she was just kind of isolated and not doing well there. And I didn't realize it, because I was just young and immature. And so I actually got arrested one night for throwing bowling balls off of a school roof at like 3 in the morning. And I had some drugs on me. I had some weed, I had some scales and like pipes and bags and stuff. And yeah, and so I got taken to a juvenile detention center like 3 in the morning. My mom came pick me up, and thank God I didn't get charged with anything, but so that same night, my mom told me, she said, "Honey, this is God's sign to us now, because I've been telling you we need to go, and that God needs us to go up north, and you haven't listened. God had to do what he had to do." And so basically that's kind of what she was saying, is the gist that it's time to go now. Like, that was your last strike. Like, I've been telling you we need to go. I wasn't listening, and so I had to go. And so my mom said, "Pack up all your stuff tonight. Tomorrow we're moving. We're leaving." And what's crazy is that we had nowhere to go, literally. So from Austin, Texas, she just said, "We're packing up. We don't know where we're going, but we're leaving because we're getting evicted." And so my mom and I both had to leave like 80 to 90% of the stuff that we had accumulated over our lifetime. And I can only pack up like 2 backpacks of stuff out of my whole 16 years of stuff. Lost all my baby stuff, lost all things that mattered to me. I lost a lot of longboards and skateboards and a bunch of stuff. And so that morning, by the time I woke up, my mom had already packed up like most of the whole car. So there was no room for my stuff. And so I literally could only pack like 2 backpacks full of stuff. And then, we from that point on lived out of our car. And so we just had nowhere to go. So my mom said, God told me that we need to go north. We need to go find somewhere to go up north. I was like, all right, I trust you. I know you and God are close, so I trust you. And yeah, so basically I didn't get to say goodbye to anybody, and so we had to go. And it really broke my heart. I was real messed up. Out of 16 years of living there, I didn't get to say goodbye to a single person. And so so from that point on, my mom and I are homeless. We literally drove up from Austin, Texas to Nevis, Minnesota. It took us about 3 days. And Nevis, Minnesota, there's only 380 people that lived there. And so my mom's uncle lived there, and he was like 71. They hadn't talked since she was like real young. But God told her, go to family. And her sister couldn't take her mom couldn't take her, and so we went to uncle. And I never met him, so it was cool. I got to meet him. Very, very wise man. He wrote a very interesting book. I'll have to get into that later. But we made it to Nevis, Minnesota. Only 380 people lived in that town. Stayed with him for about 2 weeks. His wife didn't want us there, so we had to leave. And now we're 3 days away from Texas, in Nevis, Minnesota, not knowing where we are. And by the way, I wanted to say, that whole time being homeless and just driving around Kingdom Come, going to Minnesota, God was giving my mom and I peace that we couldn't even describe or understand. Like, we left everything. We called it the fire, because like everything like felt like we're on a burning platform, and we had to leave everything behind. And so like we called it the fire. And so that really made a lot out of us. That taught us a lot, and we had to build our bond together, my mom and I, because it's tough, because we had our dog too. So it was just rough, man. It was rough. I'm not gonna get too into it, but all I gotta say is God showed us many things while driving up to Minnesota, helped us rely more on him and trust more in him and have patience and love him and realize that he is all that matters. He showed us that. That was beautiful. Of course, I knew it when I was young, but life kind of made me forget, maybe hardened my heart a little bit, but God reshaped me and molded me through that experience. And so now we got kicked out of my uncle's house. Sorry, I kind of bounced everywhere. I just don't want to take too much of y'all's time. But so we got out of my uncle's house. Now we literally actually had nowhere to go. And so my mom and I were just praying, God, make a way. God, show us where you want us to go, because now we literally have nowhere to go, because we had family to go to, but now we're in Minnesota, and I'd never been there. And so we were just kind of literally just trusting God. We couldn't do anything else other than trust God, and that's what's beautiful. And out of nowhere, that one day that we got kicked out, there just happened to be this one day of the year festival in Nevis called Muskie Days. I bet many of you have heard it. And there we met this man named Alex Bosch, a beautiful man. He is very, very loving, very, very wise. We both appreciated him very much, and we just gave him a little background of our story, how we got there, told him we were homeless and stuff. And he's like, oh, you can come back to my campsite and come hang out with me and my friends at the campsite. We said, thank you, brother, that would be such a blessing, we appreciate you. And so God made a way there, and so we got to hang out with some friends in Nevis, very, very hippie-like. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was an amazing experience. And then the next morning or whatever, we asked Bosch. We said, so what are you doing? Where are you going? Because we're just trusting God. We know that we can't do it on our own. So we're just trying to figure out what God has already planned for us. And Bosch is like, oh, I gotta go back to Duluth, Minnesota. And we're like, what's Duluth? He's like, oh, it's where I live. He's like, it's like 2 hours away. We're like, oh, Duluth, interesting, cool. So we looked it up on the map, and he said, I live with my girlfriend, my little son, and you know what, I'll ask my girlfriend if she doesn't mind y'all staying with us for a little bit. And we were like, oh, praise Jesus. Thank you, brother. We appreciate that. So God made a way there. Thank God his girlfriend, she didn't mind. We just stayed there for a little bit. So what's funny is to get there to Duluth, he already left because he had to go. And Mom and I wanted to go say bye to Uncle. And so my mom wanted to say goodbye to Uncle. And so we went back there to just see if we could like mend things and just say goodbye before we leave, and probably won't see him again. And they didn't want to see us. And so we're like, all right, it's cool, no worries. And so, yeah, we left. And one thing I wanted to add is that when we were in Nevis, before the Muskie Days thing, we actually had one night where we didn't have anywhere to go, and so we had to go into the town. There's like 380 people in the town. And my mom and I actually slept in the car at the laundromat because they had a bathroom. And so we're like, cool, we can go to the bathroom. And so, yeah, we slept there, and then my back started hurting from the car. And so I told my mom, I was like, hey, I'm gonna go sleep under that bench. And so I went to like near their coffee shop because there was a bench. I slept under the bench because the bench wasn't comfortable, and so I slept on the ground under the bench. And yeah, it was pretty cozy. But yeah, that was cool. And then so back to how me and my mom lived with Bosch and his girlfriend. We only stayed with them for like a week or so, about a week. And so my mom and I, we wanted to get out of Bosch's hair because we don't ever want to overstay our welcome. And so my mom and I just basically like every day did what we could to find what God had prepared for us, and just working on letting the Spirit flow and letting him take us where he wants us. And so my mom signed up for food stamps and cash benefits and housing. And so my mom got signed up for all of that in Duluth. It was beautiful. And so we got literally everything. And what's beautiful and crazy is that everybody kept telling us about how it would take forever to be able to get that stuff because there's such a long waiting list. And somehow my mom and I just happened to get it within like a week, which was cool because we both knew it was God. And so praise Jesus, that was beautiful. And yeah, because of that, oh yeah, we got accepted for housing within like a week. And so, it's unheard of. It's unheard of. Everybody said it would take forever because the back order and like so many people were wanting it, but we got through, praise Jesus. And what happened is we got a place, like a townhome or whatever. It was huge. And the landlord was actually a Christian too. And so because the benefits were going to take about a month to come into our account for the housing, our Christian landlord named Ed Barbo, he has a clothing store too. He actually let us stay in the home for a month for free because he knew he'd get the benefits and stuff. after that. And so praise God for him. He was such a blessing. We really connected with him, and that was a beautiful, beautiful connection we had. And what's crazy is that my uncle that we went to in Nevis, he died like a week to 2 weeks later after we left, and we didn't find that out till like 6 months later when we got a brochure for his funeral sent to our house from his wife that kicked us out. And so if God never led us to Nevis going homeless, I never would have met my very, very, very wise uncle. He knew too much. Like, he wrote a book, and I'll have to get it published and get it out to y'all, but it's deep. Talks about just fallen angels and like aliens and stuff. It's stuff you got to be ready for. It's real deep. But anyways, main thing I just wanted to share is how God had always planned out everything for us, and we just had to trust in him and find out the process of what he already had planned. And then through our faith and trust and just knowing our God, knowing our Lord, he always provided. There was never one time where we didn't have what we needed. It might have been rough, it might have been almost not scary, but it might have just been new, very different, very almost uncomfortable. But we had the peace and the love and the joy of Christ with us always, and nothing ever really got to us. Of course, we'd have like low moments and such where we would have to trust more and just pray more and just have more faith, but this is basically just a praise report saying how beautiful Jesus is, how perfect he is, how he has everything planned. Everything. Like your whole life, man. And it just takes faith and trusting and walking in obedience and hearing his voice and hearing his spirit, having the spirit dwell within you. God is just so good, y'all. So good. Always provided the way. And yeah, so I wanted to just explain how I got here to Iowa. I know I've run this video already too long, but so we lived in Duluth for 3 years. I finished out high school there, graduated high school there, and met a lot of friends there. Got a lot of friends there. And then my mom ended up moving back here to Iowa, her hometown, because she was born here, and she moved to Austin, Texas when she was 21, and so with only like $2,000, and she's like, I wanna go and start a new life. Iowa is not for me. And so because she was born and raised here, so she just left and went to Texas, Austin, Texas. Didn't even know where her place would be. She just checked it out on the internet, found out the place, and already got it. And so when she got to Austin, she was like, okay, cool, this is where I'm living. She was always moving by the Spirit. Even if she didn't have a very close relationship with Jesus, she was always Spirit-led, which was very cool. And what was the main thing I was trying to get at? Sorry, y'all. Oh yeah, and so I stayed in Duluth by myself for about 6 months or so, like half a year. I was caught up in things I will never go back to, like selling drugs, man. It's not good. It's not godly. It's a part of my past that I don't want to look back on, but it made me who I am. It showed me the things that I needed to see and how much I need God daily for everything, and that's good. But yeah, I got caught up in kind of a not godly lifestyle for a while in Duluth, about like almost the whole time I was there, and I ended up going homeless again by myself in Duluth. And God showed me again so much how much we just all need him. That's it. We only need him. We don't need anything. We just need to love each other like he loves us. Tell others about him, because everybody needs him. Everybody needs that love. Everybody needs that hole in their spirit and in their heart that's just waiting for something. People try to please that hole with pleasures of this world, like money or food or relationships or anything, trying to get famous, anything. People fill that void with what they think's gonna fill it, and not one thing will fill it other than Jesus. Because what does the Bible say? The Bible says that God formed us with the longing for eternity inside of us. Everybody longs for their home. And we just long for that security. We were formed with that need and that crave to know God and have a relationship with God. That's what that hole is that everybody tries to fill with drugs and all these things. Like, it is powerful. When you finally digest it and you realize it and build that relationship, you're like, whoa, I've never felt this way before. I feel so happy. I feel so much at peace, so much joy. I want to share it with everybody and let them know that they can have this too. Because, of course, people will think you're crazy because you're just like always filled with the Spirit all the time. And you're just, everybody's like, why is this dude so happy? Or like, how can you go through all this stuff and still be so happy? And I'm just like, yo, Jesus, it's all you need. And yeah, and so after being homeless, like I said, I'm bouncing. After I went homeless or whatever, God showed me a bunch of stuff. I got to help a brother, bring him to Christ too. We have a forever bond now, forever relationship. And Kyle, this is for you, brother. I love you, my dude. And yeah, God connected me with so many people, helped me get to reach so many hearts in Duluth. And then he showed me while being homeless in Duluth, he's like, all right, buddy, I got you right where I want you. Now, I want you to live for me, and I want you to just let go of this control that you've been trying to do with yourself through selling drugs and stuff. He said, let go. Stop trying to control things. I am in control. I am your shepherd. I am your creator. I'm not just this God you can put on a shelf, basically. Like that's what I was seeing, and I was like, wow, I know nothing. I was like, forgive me, Lord. Like I know nothing. And it's really a moment of humbleness. It humbled me, and he just showed me how much that everybody needs him. He showed me he wants me to work for him. And yeah, getting to that point of realization, realizing that I am nothing but the dust of the earth, it's amazing. And so yeah, I just wanted to share my testimony with y'all. Again, sorry if I ran along. I'm gonna have to get into another praise report about what he's doing in my life right now, because I've been in Iowa for about a year, and he's blowing my mind with more things. So yeah, I appreciate y'all for listening and tuning in. If you watch this all the way, God bless you. Jesus loves you. He's calling you too. He's calling everybody. He's calling all of his creation. Come to me, all who are weary. Ooh. He says, give me your burdens and I will make them light. Praise you, Jesus. And so yeah, just give your life to Jesus, build your relationship with him, and it's the best thing in the world, y'all. It really is. It's the only thing that'll last. Everything in this world will disappear. Jesus will last forever. So yeah. Alright. Y'all have a blessed day. Adios.